player off on an acrimonious note by putting him, for negotiating purposes, behind an offensive lineman like Chris Samuels and in front of a Bengals pick for negotiating tactic purposes. I think they got some assurances that this will not be an acrimonious contract negotiation, that there will be an understanding he'll be in camp on time, Mike, and then also that he will accept deferred money as part of his signing bonus.
Ed, that is all important down the line to LeVar Arrington, but right now the important thing is being selected and being with family. I've never seen a larger family turnout at the draft. What do you have, 30 people here?
About close to 40. You know, it's a lot.
For you, what is this moment like? You thought about it all night, and there was some talk you might be number 3, you might be number 2. Did it matter? Did it send a message from Washington to you that you were the guy they really wanted since they took you number 2?
Well, I think they really want me and Chris, but I really just feel like, you know, we've been in close contact through the whole process, and I mean, look, you know, it's just, I think we developed a great relationship before the draft even came around. So I was pretty confident that that things would go this way.
Right, a chat with you at NFL.com, ESPN.com, Draft Central. We'll visit with you a little bit later. You have some family to hug and some people to talk to on the computer.
Can I just say one thing? I have a whole lot of family at home in Pittsburgh. Grandma, I know you wanted to be here. I love y'all. Hey. We did it. We're going to get it done. All right, and peace to all my people in Pittsburgh.
Why don't you throw it to Chris Berman since you're taking over the show?
Hey, Chris, we're going to give it back to you.
Unbelievable. Go ahead.
He's already auditioning.
You know what they said is he's infectious. We met him yesterday for 5-10 minutes. It is infectious, and he's already learned something about this business. The value of what we call a segue. That means moving seamlessly from one subject to another subject. He wanted to welcome his family members who couldn't make the trek here to New York. Family values at the top of the charts when we look at LeVar Arrington in the crosshairs.
In the crosshairs.
I'm LeVar Arrington, a linebacker from Penn State. The influence of my father growing up, you know, he went to Nam, and he raised me and my 2 brothers on yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, discipline. He ended up losing both his legs because his feet got caught in the tank tread. To know that your father, you know, almost died on the battlefield is, you know, it's kind of moving and humbling. My father was a great athlete too, so one day, you know, he's a great athlete, great person, and the next, he can't be a great athlete anymore because, you know, he can't run. For as long as it took for me to understand, you know, what my father really went through, I think is a testimony of the way my father deals with life. You know, I run for my father. I look at it that way, but I run for my father. Me and my mother are pretty much exact clones. Like, we bump heads. We're so much alike. She's something else. She's a strong woman. She's a school teacher in the inner city. And she takes kids that, in most cases, wouldn't have a chance to succeed in life, and she gives them the training that they need so that they can have that chance and equal opportunity to be successful in life. I really adore my mother for day in and day out working with these kids, and I adore it so much and I admired her so much that was the major I took up in college. So one aspect, I love to be like my father, and in another aspect, I love to be like my mother.
LeVar Arrington.
I should add this about LeVar. Yesterday, they were looking at that piece and some other pieces of Courtney Brown, et cetera, that you'll see later on in the program. They were in the truck, and really, you know, these kids don't have a chance to get in a TV truck that often, and they were interested in it. He said, wait a minute. So I got to go to probably Washington when they draft me. Can we come back to New York day 2 to host that with Mike Tirico? And I think he's already put on his dibs. He wants to be day 2 with Mike and Mel. Joe, you and I are out of work.
We're out of work.
How did Washington get to pick 2 and get to pick 3 after they won the NFC East for the first time since the Joe Gibbs years? Well, they got this pick, of course, last year when they were the big dealers in the Ricky Williams trade that allowed the Saints to move up to take Ricky Williams, and essentially they got to move into this spot. That's the Saints pick. The 3rd pick, which is on the clock now, is San Francisco's pick, but what they did was trade 12 and 24 or 4 and 5 for San Francisco to move up here. So that's how, courtesy of the NFC West, the NFC East chance, the Washington Redskins try to further distance themselves in their division. This is Chris Samuel. He should be next. We'll tell you if he is. Back. Current NFL players. Tony Gonzalez, a #1 draft pick a couple of years ago, and a Pro Bowler. There's #1 draft pick a year ago, Damian Woody with the Patriots, and that's some NFL players who are chatting now at the ESPN zone, so you can get on the computer if you know how to do that. Some of us don't, so we rely on television.
I figured out how to do it. I can do that now.
The Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
This is a team that won the NFC East for the first time since Joe Gibbs.
Right.
This is a team that almost beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, who then almost beat St. Louis in St. Louis. Therefore, if you do a little math, you figure they're not that far away, perhaps, from the Super Bowl. However, this was a team, Joe, that was in some serious turmoil for a lot of reasons. But they go out, and at the end of the season, they add Bruce Smith, future Hall of Famer, who can certainly still play, who may have had his best game of the year, by the way, in the playoff game you did against Tennessee. They add Jeff George to back up Brad Johnson, who had a 4,000-yard season. You see anything that they've done to deter them from that path?
I think, first of all, you have to give an awful lot of credit to Daniel Snyder. Here is a guy who's taken his aggressiveness from the business world and brought it into the world of professional football. And you say to yourself, how can a young man who's been a fan so much be able to do so many things? Vinny Serrato, as general manager, has done a terrific job of spreading the money out, so they're really not going to get jammed when it comes to a cap. This football team is not looking to be just victorious in the year 2000. They're looking ahead. That's why when you look at a Chris Samuels possibly, or a LeVar Arrington, and you bring in a Bruce Smith, a Mark Carrier to go along with Sam Shade at the safety position, and then you have a Brad Johnson, whom they brought in last year, which really was the key for Norv Turner to get his offense going. Now you add Jeff George because you have to have two quarterbacks in this league if you're going to be successful. This football team has postured itself not just to be successful now, but down the road as well. You got to like what Daniel Snyder has brought to this football team. It's exciting to be a Washington Redskins fan again.
Well, and to bring it back to the glory days of the Redskins, in which you had something to do with and which you know a little bit about, I think the guys up front, known as the Hogs, were pretty important in the success of the Redskins.
Just a little bit.
And here's one Y2K style, Mel.
It really is. When you look at Chris Samuels and see how he compares to the other great offensive tackles over the years, or of course we're looking